The airport was packed. Parents wrangled kids, business travelers stayed glued to their phones, and rolling suitcases bumped along the tile floor. It was the usual chaos, but for Colonel James Carter, today was different. He stepped inside, his polished dress shoes tapping against the floor, his uniform sharp and pressed. But beneath the ribbons and medals, there was a weight heavier than anything he had ever carried. This wasn't just another flight. He had a duty, one that went beyond rank, beyond orders. He was escorting a fallen soldier home. Carter stepped up to the airline counter, setting down his orders and military ID. The agent behind the desk barely glanced at him at first, typing something into the computer. Then she stopped. Her eyes flickered over the screen, and her expression shifted. She hesitated, frowned, then leaned toward a coworker, whispering something. Carter watched closely. He had seen this kind of reaction before. Uncertainty. Maybe even fear. Finally, she straightened and forced a tight smile. "I'm sorry, sir. There's an issue with your ticket." Carter's jaw tightened. He kept his voice calm, steady. "I'm escorting Private Tyler Hayes." "What issue?" The agent didn't answer right away. Instead, she glanced at her coworker again, as if hoping he'd step in. He didn't. The moment stretched too long, thick with something unspoken. Carter had dealt with all kinds of challenges. Combat zones, politics, red tape. But this was different, and he wasn't moving until he got an answer. The agent still hadn't given Carter a real answer when a man in a suit walked over, his name tag clipped to his shirt. He had the tired look of someone used to handling complaints. "Sir, I'm sorry for the inconvenience," he said, voice flat. "But due to security protocol, we can't let you board at this time." Carter exhaled through his nose, keeping his frustration in check. "Security protocol?" he repeated. "What policy, exactly, prevents me from escorting a fallen soldier?" Before the supervisor could respond, a voice from the line cut through the tension. "Since when does protocol block a soldier from doing his duty?" An older man, his USMC hat pulled low over his brow, stepped forward. A veteran. His eyes were sharp, his stance firm. He wasn't asking. He was challenging. Murmurs spread through the crowd. People shifted, watching closely now. A woman whispered something to her husband. A teenager pulled out his phone, swiping fast. Then came the first quiet ding, a notification. Another followed, then another. The clicks of cameras, the glow of phone screens. This wasn't just an airport problem anymore. The story was getting out, and the airline was losing control. A man in a hoodie scrolled through his phone, his eyes widening. "It's trending," he muttered, just loud enough for those around him to hear. More phones lit up. A woman near the window gasped. "It's on the news," she whispered, turning her screen towards the crowd. Bold headlines flashed across it. "Army Colonel denied flight while escorting fallen soldier." The numbers below, shares, comments, reactions, were climbing fast. At the counter, the supervisor's face paled. He glanced toward the back, as if hoping for backup, but it was too late. The story had already spread beyond the airport walls. Then, from behind, a voice cut through the noise. Strong, steady, commanding. "Colonel, I'm Major Thompson. We're taking over." Carter turned. A man in uniform stood just a few feet away, his military ID clipped to his chest. He didn't ask for details. He didn't need to. The message was clear. No more delays, no more excuses. The military wasn't asking. They were handling it now. Carter stepped onto the plane, his mission finally back on track. Private Tyler Hayes was going home, just as he should have from the start. But outside that airport, the battle wasn't over. The airline scrambled to control the damage, but it was too late. Their stock took a hit. Protests popped up outside their offices. A veterans group filed a lawsuit demanding accountability. They called it a misunderstanding, a mistake. But everyone knew the truth. Respect shouldn't depend on who's watching. It should be automatic, because when people refuse to stay silent, injustice has nowhere to hide.